the Dyson DC 26, also known as the Dyson Baby. It is a very, very small machine that will sit on a regular piece of, like, what is it, 8.5 by 10 paper. They were also called the Dyson City, before I forget. But, you know, I learned that these things are a service nightmare. I hated taking this thing apart. Because, I mean, you know, to access the cyclones, you got one screw there, that's no big deal, right? But then you have a screw under the handle, and even worse, you have a screw up here. And this handle was just a complete pain in the ass to take apart. I mean, to take off. Because it's like, you know, you had to, like, pull up and forward on this, and there's a little latch down there, and getting it back together, that was a lot of fun too. But it's like, ugh, I never want to take one of these apart again. If I can help it, I won't. But yeah, very, very small machine. And then HEPA filters on the underside, that's easy to get to. But getting to the cord winder assembly, now that's another story. Because as you can see, this part and this inner part doesn't move. Well, this ring right here has to come off in order to access the cord winder. And you actually have to get something under here and pry it out. And I think there's about 6 snaps in here. And then once you have this wheel off, you have 3 torque screws that you'll have to take off in order to get to that cord winder. And that cord winder has a really thin metal piece on top of it, which is easily bent. And I guess I bent it when I was removing it, so I had to take this thing apart again and again and again because, you know, the cord winder kept, since it was a little bit bent on top, it kept rubbing against the housing and it would stop reeling the cord. Well, I've finally gotten it to a point where it, you know, retracts completely, thankfully. Yay! And then, getting to the motor, I guess I got some paint scuffs. Well, anyways, getting to the motor on this thing was also a nightmare. Filter's still a little bit discolored on here. But the weird thing about this machine is, you know, it does the filtration here. You know, it pulls through the filter and then goes into the motor. You know, it's like when you open it up, you kind of expect, you know, to find debris, you know, right here, but you're going to find it on the inside of there. But anyways, getting back to this motor. Yeah, it shouldn't. I barely use this thing. I don't know why it's dirty. But, notice there are no screws. You know what holds this motor in here? This piece, and this piece. And it's like the only way to really get that out of there seems to be just to pry at it until you are able to pull these things out of here, and then you're finally able to get the motor out. It's like I've never seen anything quite so stupid. It's like, you know, I thought the DC-39 was a pain in the butt until I started working on this one, and it's like, wow, they really did not engineer this thing to be, you know, like, serviceable. It's crazy. But here we have the model tag, and as you can see, it's rated for 8 amps. So definitely less than most of the Dyson canisters we've taken a look at, if not all of them. Yeah, very, very small machine. And it's weaker in terms of air watts than others. I think it was rated for about 100 and, I want to say 160? But, you know, the other canisters I've worked on, like the 11, I think was about 220. And then, I think it was the only, well, there may have been some other models to use it, but this was one of the few, if not only ones, to use the carbon fiber turbine head. So it has these really weird feeling carbon fiber brush rolls. They almost feel that when you're moving your finger over them, they almost feel like they're a little sticky somehow. And this head is very small. So yeah, it's about 8.5 inches. About. And then if we actually take a look at the underside, and then we look at the dead space that's in here, we have even less space. So it's like, you know, we probably have, you know, it's a little bit under 7 inches actually, because I'm going from about where this, where the brush roll actually starts. I mean, if we want to go from this little black piece over here, which would indicate where the belt is, you know, we're looking at something a little bit bigger, but you know, the area we actually have agitation in, about 6 and what was that, 3/4, I think. So yeah, very, very small, you know. And I mean, they were designed for, you know, places where spaces were at a premium, you know, like Japanese apartments and such. And, you know, if you have a very small space to clean, it'd be just fine. But I couldn't imagine cleaning a regular sized space with one of these. I mean, I'm sure there are some hand tools out there that probably have a similar, yeah, like the Miele mattress tools, those big wide ones they have, those things are probably as wide as this. But, you know, I think I've kind of rambled on long enough about this machine. Why don't we get to the tests on it? Well, as we already know, we shouldn't expect high flow numbers from a Dyson, and this one's going to be, I guess it wasn't snapped into place, but yeah, this one's going to be a little less powerful than most of them. So let's take the flow measurement. I know there is a suction relief valve in here, so, I mean, you know, much like a lot of Dysons, the suction is pretty strong. The airflow, pretty mediocre, but, you know, that's kind of what we have come to expect at this point. And I was thinking about testing the power at the end of this little handle, but it's like, you know what, nah, let's just skip ahead to the wand. That way this video doesn't get overly long. We went up a little bit. Well, we haven't lost much on the wand. So, clearly things are a lot tighter on this than some of the previous models. So we'll start with the turbine on. That's sad. I don't know how much of that I was recording, but this is the number we got with the turbine off. And then I was trying to measure the suction on this, and I was getting about a 20, but it keeps... Okay, let's try this again. It's about what I was getting before. But it's like, you know, it's pulling the tape loose on the side. You know, I just noticed that this does not have the proper docking clip. I mean, this machine did not come with this head. They actually sent me a DC-39's like trigger head, and it's like, that's not the right head. So I ended up tracking down one of the correct ones, and its docking system is different, which makes me wonder, what would this have come on? But, you know, it's kind of a neat little thing, you know, being as small as it is, but that's really the only appealing part about it. Because, I mean, you know, its pickup wasn't particularly great. It's not that powerful. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, look how small it is.